I love Naples. I love Collier County. And over the course of my many years here, I've had the incredible experience to understand what makes us the best place in America to live. And let me tell you, it's not just our beaches. Far from it, actually. It's our people, and it's our partnerships. And none of it's happened by accident. I've seen it time and time again. The more people learn about what's happening in our community, the more they come to the realization, this is not happening where I come from. Collier is special. Collier is unique. That's why I'm bringing you Community Matters. Think of this as your Collier County 101. I'm your guide, introducing you to the people and the resources that I think that you should know through short, real conversations so that you feel more empowered and ready to engage in ways that will positively impact your life, your family, your careers, and this beautiful place that we get to call home. Because community matters.
Hi, and welcome to Community Matters. I'm Amanda Pearson, and today it is my honor to introduce Kristen Coury. And I have to look at your title here because there's a. Let's see. Actually, can you share your title with me? I don't want to get it wrong.
I'm the founder, CEO, and producing artistic director of Gulfshore Playhouse.
I was like, I do not want to get this wrong. So
many people do, so I appreciate that.
I'm like, there's a lot going on, and it's important, right? All of those, each titles are important, and we'll get to that in a bit. So I want people to know a little bit more about who you are because there's really a lot here and it's important. So yes, founder, CEO, producing artistic director of Gulfshore Playhouse, founded in 2004, shortly thereafter starting producing with no staff and virtually no funding. And we'll get to how that happened later. But you led the charge to create the iconic, beautiful $75 million state-of-the-art Baker Theater and Education Center at the gateway to downtown Naples, which opened November 1st of 24. So as a part of this project, Kristen ignited one of the largest public-private partnerships in the city of Naples history, initiating a land swap with the Wynn family and subsequently donating over an acre of land to the city upon which to build public parking garage, which, Lord, we all know we need that. Mm-hmm. When you were in New York, Kristen worked on Broadway for Walt Disney Theatrical Productions and for Andrew Lloyd Webber's company, The Really Useful Group, and made her feature film directorial debut with an independent film entitled Friends and Family. Kristen was named one of Men and Women of the Year by Gulfshore Life in 2013 and then again in 2024, which is a really big deal. She also received the Marie Hendel Award for Civic Achievement in 2023, served 2 terms on the board of Theater Communications Group, the National Advocacy Group for Professional Theater, and is currently a member of the Greater Naples Chamber of Commerce Board. Kristen was named one of the top 100 most influential business leaders in Collier County by Naples Illustrated for the last 4 years. And this year was listed in the 2025 edition of Florida Trend magazine as one of the 500 most influential business leaders in the state of Florida, which is huge. Last but not least, Kristen's honored to have been appointed to the Florida Council for Arts and Culture by Senate President Pasadomo. Wow. I get out of breath saying it all. I can't figure out if it's all of the accomplishments or the pregnancy.
I think it's the pregnancy.
So thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
And I love starting with how Gulfshore Playhouse was founded because I've heard you speak to students and adults before about what it takes to do something like this because it's quite special and it had some very special visioning and passion and manifestation and just honestly true grit. So can you share a little bit about how that all happened?
Yeah, so I'll try to keep that answer short. But the short answer is my former husband and I had discovered Naples by accident, and I fell in love with it immediately and was kind of very much over living in New York City. It was post 9/11, and I said, let's go home and sell the co-op and move right there. We were staying at the Bayfront Inn on 5th. I was looking at Bayfront, and he said, okay, and we did. And so the apartment outlasted the husband, I'm happy to say. And right away, I thought, this is so crazy that an arts-loving small community like Naples doesn't have a self-producing professional theater. We had the Naples Philharmonic, which is and was then a presenting house. So it's bringing in Broadway shows that are touring around the country. And we had a very venerated, and still have, a very venerated community theater group, which uses non-pros, amateur people who are, hairdressers or bankers by day and and want to be actors by night. And that's a whole different model. So I thought Naples seems like it would really be happy about a self-producing professional theater. And so I went back to a lawyer friend of mine in New York and said, I'm moving to Naples. I don't know anybody. I don't have a name for the place, and I don't have any money at all. But is it too soon to start? And he said, start now, because it takes a year to get your 501c3, which not all professional theaters that are not Broadway in America are not-for-profit theaters. And so it required filling out the application for 501c3, at which time I said, short-term goal, create $1 million capital campaign, find a place to produce, do a few plays. But the long-term goal was always to create a theater and education center with a 400-seat main stage and a 150-seat small space, and all of the classrooms and rehearsal spaces necessary to make this a replete cultural center. And so the name Gulfshore Playhouse sort of naturally grew out of that, because theaters very often are named after their location. And I didn't know if we were going to be on 3rd Street Playhouse or, see a theater by the sea or whatever we might be. And so Gulfshore, when you're trying to create a regional theater, made the most sense. I needed to find 3 board members. One, I could qualify as one, but I asked my realtor, who was the only person I knew in town, to be my first board member, and he said yes, thank goodness. And then connived my sister to move to Naples and asked her husband to be my second board member, and I was the third. And the Gulfshore Playhouse was born. But for years, I worked out of my Bayfront apartment. We did move to Bayfront, and I worked out of my Bayfront apartment, and it was me, myself, and I. I have a 212 cell phone because I came from New York, and nobody would call me because back in 2004, 212 was long distance. And so I bought myself a second cell phone, and no matter where I was, I would answer the phone and say, Gulfshore Playhouse, this is Kristen, can I help you? And it was crazy, like those early days. So whenever I got really bored, despondent, wondering what the heck I was doing with my life, I worked for the first 6 years and didn't get paid. It was a tough trajectory, those first 5 years especially. I would stand on my balcony looking over Goodliffe Frank Road, and I'd look across the street, and I would close my eyes and imagine a theater growing up out of the ground. And that, little did I really know that was exactly where the theater would end up 20 years later, but it felt real to me when I was doing it, and I guess, so now I say visualization works.
It's just so amazing. I mean, even the concept of not taking a paycheck for 6 years to make something like this happen, and you're bored. I didn't know that story. Like, who was on, your sister, yourself, and your realtor. Like, it's all so real, and to think that that's always so amazing to me. Like, look at what it is today. So that kind of leads me to the next question: is so that's your very humble beginnings. And your dream and your vision, which is unbelievable, to what it is today. So what is Gulfshore Playhouse today? What, operating budget, staff, shows, whatever it looks like what have you built?
Yeah. Today we have an operating budget of $15 million. We have 83 staff members, plus or minus bartenders and cleaners and people who do the gardening and all that kind of stuff. And about almost 100,000 people who come through the building every year. How exciting is that? Isn't that cool?
It's really, I mean, yeah, I think about that all the time, because for anybody that starts something, to imagine the physical space, the people that you impact, the community that you impact, it's unbelievable. So kudos to all of you that, and it's just such an inspiring story.
Thank you.
You also, we'll talk about economic impact in a bit, but there's a lot, right, that it takes to put on a show here. So, what all goes into putting on a production? Because you are the producers, from the actors to, you create it all, to the costumes. Gulfshore Playhouse creates it all, to housing, to, all of it, what does it actually take to put on these beautiful productions, of which my in-laws are seeing one of the shows tonight.
I love that.
Yeah.
A show that I directed,
That's
which I'm very
right.
excited about. I truly believe that people think when it comes to theater that it's just magic. And they walk in the theater and they go, oh, look, this set just magically appeared and these actors just magically rehearsed and these costumes were magically built. And they have no idea. But we actually start working, for example, I had a launch of Christmas Carol, which we're going to be doing in December, yesterday. And so we're working well in advance, 9 months to a year in advance. And that's just on the production itself. I actually happened to write that adaptation of Christmas Carol. So I've been working on that since 6 months ago, so it's a lot of work in advance. We have no professional actors here in this area. We're not in a major theater market like Chicago or New York or Washington, D.C. And so if we want to be a professional theater, it means that we have to hire all of our staff in from other places and help them move here so that they are taking up residence here in Naples. So our 83 staff members live here now, and they're all trained in what they're doing. Technical theater was their degree. They are credited in certain kinds of machinery and things that they build. And then all of our guest artists, which are about 150 or more a year, and that includes actors, directors, designers, stage managers, they are all brought in and put up. We travel them in. We put them in housing. We rent about 54 beds all around the county every year annually and give them all rental cars. It's over $1 million just in travel and housing. It's a big, big number. And yet it's clearly what the people of Naples wanted. They are so happy to have Broadway level quality that is being produced right here in their backyard. I just had lunch with a woman today who was like, in Chicago, it's complicated. You have to drive a long time. You have to park. You have to do all this stuff. Here, I'm 10 minutes away from the theater and the parking garage is right there. And I get to go see Broadway level theater. And I thought, oh, that's so great. Thank you for saying that, because obviously it wasn't always like that when we were at the Norris Center. So.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Well, that leads, honestly, just thinking about $1 million just for the actors and the people that you're bringing in, it does lead me to not only Gulf Shore, so by all means, like what is the economic impact of Gulf Shore Playhouse, but of course, the arts in general. It's a big deal.
Yeah, so there's so many ways to measure impact. It depends on what kind of impact we're talking about. Right. So first of all, in terms of economic impact, I should add that we have 3 campuses. So we rent office space right now in Poinciana Business Park on the corner of Golden Gate and Airport. Blake Gable was wonderful enough to go buy land in the warehouse district and build us a build-to-suit 25,000 square foot production center where all of our sets are built. We're welding, we're painting, we've got a CNC router, we're building, we've got an 8-person costume staff who are building all these, like your parents are going to see, or your in-laws are going to see the show tonight, and they're going to see these beautiful Victorian costumes. We built them all. Like the designer designed them and we created them. So there's a lot, almost 50 members of our staff are over in that production center. And then, of course, we've got the theater. So 3 different campuses where people are working, honestly, pretty much 24/7. So out of that $15 million budget, we're spending probably 90% of it right here in the region, because even though we're bringing in all our actors, we're bringing in designers, we're bringing in directors, we're not paying them so much money that they're not spending it while they're here. They're spending it over the 4, 5, 10 weeks that they're here, depending on the contract. And then, so that's $15 million that's going directly into the community. But one of the things that theater, I feel like, people don't realize, but theater is absolutely instrumental in, is that it creates you. It's a catalyst to not just growth, but it's a catalyst to spending money in other places. What do you do when you go to see theater? You go out to dinner. You maybe go shopping. You maybe ballet park. You maybe travel and take a hotel room. You do all kinds of things that require you spending money as well. So there are a lot of different studies that are done. Some of which are statewide, for example, and they're taking all of Florida into account. And so they're saying the average amount that somebody spends on an evening is $35. I would like please tell me where you've gone to dinner in Naples, Florida. That's close to the theater. Where you might have spent $35 per person. So we're actually averaging about $90 per person, and based on our nearly 100,000 people a year, that's another $6 or $7 million that we are causing to be spent in the environs right around the Playhouse. And so we're very proud of the fact that we're contributing annually over $20 million. But then if you talk about impact in another way, lots of charities are places where you give me money to do something good for other people, right? You give me money to bag up food and deliver food or serve food as part of the food bank to people who are homeless and hungry. Gulfshore Playhouse is a different kind of charity. Of course, we have an incredible amount of educational programs that we create, all of which are scholarshiped if necessary. And so we do have that arm as well. But as one donor said to me as he was stroking a check for our capital campaign, we can't go out to dinner every night. And so we're an organization that you can donate to that's a not-for-profit organization that's creating art that also raises your quality of life. And that's also a kind of impact, that so many people have said to me, especially since, of course, the building's been built, I'm so proud to be in Naples because of this beautiful building. Like, thank you so much for creating this. It makes me feel more proud to live here. And I thought, that was never the goal. The goal was to create bigger and better art and bigger and better education. And the building was an outgrowth of that. It wasn't like, I want to create a civic institution. And now here we are with people being so happy and people thinking of Gulfshore as synonymous with the city of Naples, which is really, really cool.
Absolutely. Thank you for all of that. I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and she said, I've never seen a show at all at any of our theaters in Naples. And, I said, what? There is a perception, I think, for many that the ticket cost is so high. And yes, that's possible for many families. I get that. I definitely get that. And I, was looking on your website and I was like, and I know that I've heard you guys have a lot of opportunities for whether it's a young professional or a veteran or a student. There's a lot of ways because I believe that the ticket price is a great bang for your buck as it is. And there's opportunities for even more affordable ticket prices too. So in case people don't know that, because I was surprised to hear that there's a perception in general theater that it's a very high cost. And so I wanted to kind of break that stigma a little bit with this conversation.
So one of the things, first of all, we're a not-for-profit. And but second of all, one of the things that's very important to me is to keep ticket prices accessible for all. Now, obviously we need to stay in business and, 60% of our budget is contributed by generous donors. 45% is achieved by ticket sales. So we also have a responsibility to keep ourselves in business. And like you said, for some families in Naples, there is no top. And so we're gonna be sure to make sure we use dynamic pricing and have ticket prices fluctuating compared to what the market is asking for. However, there's always a section of our seats that are what we call value price, which are our lowest prices and are not subject to any kind of dynamic pricing. That's just step one. Like you said, we've got discounts for people under 40, for veterans, for teachers, for families, for there was one I'm forgetting.
Students.
So the student ticket price is $25 always. However, we have furthermore a rush ticket price. And so if you come 2 hours before the show and we have a ticket available, and you know what, we're sold out a lot, but we're never totally, there's always a seat somewhere, right? So you can come and grab a seat and we will sell it to you for half price. So even a student ticket could be gotten for $12.50, but even the back seats that are $40, I think could be a $20 ticket if you come at rush. Mm-hmm. So for regular adults. I had a woman come up to me at our most recent gala and she said, I wanted to come to the gala because I wanted to thank the person who made the $25 student tickets. And I said, you're welcome. And she said, it allowed me to take a risk on my 3 kids who are, I think she said 8, 10, and 12 or 14. And she said they're tied to their phones. It's dopamine hit after dopamine hit. I cannot get them away from the phones. And I said, come on, I'm going to take you to come see White Christmas. And she said they loved it. And the only thing they hated was the intermission because they were like, why does it have to stop? We don't like this. So now it's a family tradition. They go for a walk down Fifth Avenue. They stop for lunch. They come to the Sunday matinee. Then they go walking in Baker Park and they discuss the show. And she said they love it because it's real. And so thank you for creating something for the next generation that is going to be completely AI infiltrated, for lack of a better phrase, and providing something real.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for, I didn't realize how affordable that student ticket price was. And if people, for that last minute rush, I mean, you guys have a little cafe and a place where you can get drinks and beautiful places to sit. And so, my goodness, even just to go stop and do that for a little bit and just before a show and then hop in. I think I'll try that myself someday just for fun.
Totally. Our lobby's open all day. We have happy hour from 2 to 5. We've got light bites that are prepared and provided by Grappino, so it's delicious food, and drinks, drinks all day, great coffees and all kinds of great things. So I hope you come enjoy the lobby just during the day.
I am inspired to do so right now. Also, speaking of White Christmas, I loved that show so much. I saw it twice.
Oh, yay.
Oh my gosh. It was so good. And if people don't know, can I share the surprise of what happened at the end?
Of course.
It snowed. It literally snowed at the end, and I cried both times because I was like, this is just so beautiful.
But it didn't just snow. It snowed in the theater.
I know. That's what I mean. Look, I'm getting teary again. I'm like, it was so beautiful. Not just the snow, but the acting. And, it's an old movie. It was amazing. So
thank you.
I hope you've seen the movie now by this point.
I know I haven't. I still haven't. Terrible. I need to watch it.
Okay. So I'm so excited about the announcement for the next Christmas show. So that's very exciting. I wanted to just, talk a little bit more about ways people can engage with Gulfshore Playhouse outside of seeing a show, because there is so much more that they can do, whether it's, student programming or community partnerships that's happening. What else is going on with Gulfshore Playhouse that is above and beyond shows?
Yeah. So, like I said, that I wasn't joking. Our lobby's open all day and our gardens are open all day. And that's part of the community engagement, right? One of our consultants said this is that art buildings anymore are so much more than just art or education. They are engagement spaces because we're isolated behind our screens. We don't have a piazza like Italy. And so to be able to come and sit in the garden or enjoy the lobby and have a drink and just talk with people, that's cool. But also, the 3 spaces off the lobby are our 2 theaters and our main rehearsal hall. And our main rehearsal hall, which you've been in, is used very frequently for other community events. We rent it all the time. So it's available for people. People have put on birthday parties, wealth management events. We've had Greater Naples Leadership Collier, Old Naples Association. We've had all kinds of, I could go on and on about the amount of groups that use it. When we're rehearsing. But when we're not and it's empty, it's a beautiful space with a catering kitchen behind. So that's another way people can use Gulfshore Playhouse. We also have, surprisingly, we have fitness classes. We've got yoga classes and we've got Broadway Zumba. So on some morning, you can come take an exercise class. We've got all kinds of, we've got a huge education arm that's too long to get into, but we've got 3 umbrellas of our conservatory where we teach kids to act and sing and dance, but we've also got in-school programming. We've got community partnerships, like we do a fully orchestrated Shakespeare with the Philharmonic every year for the entire 11th grade of Collier County. But in addition to that, we've also got adult programming, right? So we've got lectures, and we've got how do you cast a show? How do you make a set design? Let's teach you about Oscar Wilde because we're doing The Importance of Being Earnest. So there's all kinds of adult programming that's going on as well, and adult private acting classes, private vocal lessons, things like that too. So there is, of course, if you're interested in ushering, you can become an usher, which allows you to see the show for free. All you have to do is sort of hand out programs at the beginning of the show. There's lots of ways to get involved with Gulfshore.
Well, that's great. And I will be sure to maybe link all of this for wherever people find a way to listen to this podcast, whether it's, YouTube or on the other channels, because that's really important. And I always want people to leave knowing ways that they can engage outside of being a participant, right? Or more of a passive participant, I would say. Is there anything else that you wish, I just wish the residents of Collier County knew blank, or if you could maybe wave a magic wand and be like, oh, if we could just do this, is there anything that you wish people would know or we could do?
I guess I wish, well, first of all, just today we were talking about Flex Pass education and how people don't understand. They think that our Flex Passes are subscription tickets and that they have to buy 2 per show or whatever. And our Flex Passes are like, you could buy 14 and use all 14 for White Christmas. You could come twice. There's no sort of bar to, what I guess they don't know is there's no bar to entry, right? We're going to make Flex Passes a discounted price and easy to exchange. We're going to have all these discounts. We're going to have the bar open all the time. We're going to have the gardens ready. We're going to have rooms for rent. We're going to have exercise classes. There's so many ways. I don't want people, I know so many people in the past 2 years, we've only been open in this building, these 2 seasons, So many people in these 2 seasons who say, I've never come. Oh, I've been meaning to come, but I don't come. Why don't you come? Come and see a show, because I'm convinced that theater is having its heyday. Again, what I was talking about before with AI, it's real people gathering in a real place with other real people watching something real. And that's going to become a commodity before too long.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just think people should not worry about anything in terms of this feeling about they're not welcome here.
Yeah.
Everybody's welcome here.
Buy the ticket. Get to a show. It really is so special. And you've shared a comment about something. Wasn't there some sort of study about people's way, the rhythm of their body start to like, what is that?
When people watch a show together, their heartbeats synchronize.
It's wild.
We talk about the magic of theater, but that is real magic.
Yeah.
That's just mind-blowing.
That's amazing. So I can't wait to get back to my next show. Wish I could join my in-laws tonight. I know it's going to be amazing. I can only imagine the costumes.
You've got your own production to worry about.
Oh yes, a couple weeks from now we've got a
The baby's coming.
little one on the way. So exciting. Well, thank you so much for your precious time today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all of the ways that you have so tremendously impacted our community. And for those listening today, I hope that you'll find a way to engage, because community matters.